Are you feeling directionless,
Mm.
confused, messy, aimless? Does everything in life feel a little unknown, unclear, like a ship that is adrift without a port to come into? This idea of unbecoming, the opposite of becoming, I'm becoming something. The opposite of that, like, actually, I feel like
Mm.
everything in me is kind of unbecoming. There's this unmaking of who I thought I was. Are you in a stage of deconstruction? These are all ways to describe what Rachel and I are associating with and describing as the chrysalis stage of the caterpillar to butterfly life cycle. So if you're experiencing any of those,
Yeah.
you are potentially in the chrysalis stage. And there's two things I think that we kind of call out as we explore this. One, there's so much to explore about how uncomfortable it is to be in that season. But two, interestingly, we have found that there are things we actually love about that season.
Yes.
So we want to start with a couple of disclaimers first.
Yeah. Do you want me
Rachel.
to say those? Okay. As Rebecca and I were talking about this, we realized that you can have circumstances in your life that are happening that feel like the chaos and the confusion and kind of the aimlessness, certain elements that I associate with the chrysalis goo stage
Right.
of transformation, of growth, of change. And yet, some of that could be coming from the feed on your social media, from news, from who you spend time with. It could be from unhealthy relationships you're in.
Yeah.
Certain things that can cause more confusion and chaos and actually kind of trick our system into thinking we're in a different season and stage. So, we want each of you to just use your own intuition, your own awareness, check with yourself, especially if you're in a dangerous relationship or situation. We want you to seek the right assistance for that and not just focus in on, oh, I'm just in the chrysalis stage. I need to
Right.
dig into this when perhaps other options would be safer and more helpful for you. So,
Yeah.
yes, that was the main thing. It stood out to me just because I know how chaotic it can feel when you are in unhealthy places, or just even the chaos from the world around you can make it feel like different things are happening that are not necessarily the stage that you're actually in. Yeah. Okay. Disclaimer over.
Disclaimer over. So going back to those feelings, directionless, confusing, messy, aimless, unknown, unclear, adrift.
Yeah.
And then I like to throw in unbecoming and deconstruction, but those need a little bit more conversation. But Rach, I feel like we've talked about this a lot, partially because you have been in that season
Yes.
for quite some time. And
Yeah.
so I don't know, I would love to hear some of how you have been experiencing a season that I think most of us associate with being very uncomfortable. I mean, when the caterpillar goes into the chrysalis, it's literally disintegrating, right? We refer to it as the goo stage because the caterpillar literally becomes goo. It's not a caterpillar anymore. And there are 6 discs that remain that get incorporated into the butterfly, but everything about the caterpillar and all the food that it's been eating up to this stage dissolve and
Yeah.
disintegrate
Yeah.
into, Rachel called it cell soup. And I was like,
Yeah. That's
so
basically
much
what it is.
potential in
Yes,
cell
there's a
soup. I
lot of
was like,
potential.
but I don't think it probably feels like it's potential when you're the one who's actually in it and you've
Yeah.
literally turned to goo. Like that sounds very gross to me.
Yeah. Well, and I think we said it on a couple episodes back. I think we said something about the fact that, like, literally, you can't find pictures of it
Yeah,
because nobody wants to see a picture of that. It's not
it's
pretty.
not pretty.
It's not the pretty part of the life cycle at all. Yeah. So I would say one of the first things for me that was fascinating about it was I was probably in it for about a year and a half before I fully realized kind of that's what was happening. And I remember a bunch of changes that had happened when I was leaving my previous job and starting the business. And it was like all of a sudden it was like I felt very much like that ship adrift that you mentioned. I had been a ship that had a normal shipping route. It knew where it was going every single day. There wasn't much variety. There wasn't much change. It was just like you go into this port, you get whatever, you pull over to this one. There you go. And all of a sudden it's like I don't know what's happening. I don't know where I'm going. I had ideas and goals and I had all those things, right? But it still felt like I was just adrift. I don't know where I'm at in the ocean. I don't know where I'm headed. I don't know what direction we're going. And then just making it even more personal to take that metaphor and bring it in, the internal sort of discomfort and unease that I felt and kind of aimlessness and I didn't feel much motivation. I was definitely dealing with burnout.
Right.
So that season also has been a season of recovery, right? Of like, okay, we're going to shed the things that have not worked and have been detrimental in ways, and we're going to rebuild something different. And I keep thinking, oh, I'm coming out of it. And then something else happens, and I'm like, you're not really out of it.
Well, and I thought it was interesting that you said it took me a year and a half to realize I was
Yeah.
in that stage. And I immediately noticed I had an internal reaction of, oh God, you could be in it for that long. And then
Oh,
was chuckling a little bit as well at myself of like, yeah, I think we can be in it for longer than that. I also
absolutely.
think that because it's such an uncomfortable season, there's definitely a pushback of I don't want that. And one of the things that we've both been talking about with seasons of change is embracing
Yeah.
whatever season you're in, knowing what season you're in and embracing it. Because even if it's uncomfortable, and every season of change is uncomfortable, embracing it shifts it and changes it. And I know we're not talking about it yet, but it brings up the fact that Rachel has told me over the last few weeks, I'm realizing I'm kind of in love with this season.
Yeah.
And that, again, that's something we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But I realized that I was like, oh, well, that's great because we've been talking about how uncomfortable the season is and how
Yeah.
directionless, confusing, messy, aimless, unknown, unclear. Those are not words that we go, you know what I'd really like to be for a year and a half or longer? I'd like to be really confused. I'd like to feel
Yeah.
like everything in my life is messy.
Pure
You
delight.
know, I'd like to just feel so aimless that I can't figure out where the hell I'm supposed to be pointing my ship and sailing to. Nobody says that.
Nobody. Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of disconcerting, right? Because
Yeah.
you suddenly realize the things that I have relied on and that have made sense to me don't fit. They don't work. They don't work with where I know I want to go.
Right.
And I think really again, the caterpillar can't fly. It's never going to get to fly. The only way the caterpillar gets to fly is for the caterpillar to disintegrate and become something else. It's the only way the caterpillar gets to fly. And it has to go through this season, this in between. It has to. It doesn't have a choice, right? Like it
Right.
has to disintegrate so that it can be rebuilt, remade as something else. And Rebecca said the kind of the chrysalis goo is the unbecoming. Yeah, you are unbecoming. And Rebecca also mentioned the word deconstruction. I have to kind of take apart the things that worked for me in the past and realize, okay, these legs, this body doesn't work for this future.
Right.
So I have to take those things apart and then I have to rebuild them as something else.
Yeah. And
And go ahead.
I didn't want to interrupt your thought, but I did.
You did. Yeah, you totally did.
Rachel very wisely pointed out when we were talking about this earlier that deconstruction doesn't equal decommission, not in our experience. And we realize that if you're in a faith community,
Yeah.
that oftentimes deconstruction has a bad feeling or connotation or sensation because it equals decommission. It doesn't just equal deconstructing and reconstructing, it equals
Right.
dismantling and throwing away. And
Yeah.
my experience of deconstruction, because I would say for me, the goo phase when I'm in it often involves deconstruction. For me, it isn't a throwing away of or a decommission of things. It is a deep internal investigation of what I have been holding up as my map, as my star points to navigate by, and saying, wait a minute, do I actually have the North Star in the wrong place? And if I do, I just want to put it back where it should be because my navigation is actually going to be better. And so deconstruction has been a positive experience. It's an uncomfortable experience, but a positive experience of, oh no, I'm going deeper into my own thoughts and ideas and beliefs, the things that I'm holding up in front of me, carrying around, maybe my core values, and looking at, okay, where are those coming from? And
Yeah.
what are they doing for me? And the confusion, I think, and the unknown and the directionlessness for me, I think when I've been in that season has become more clear
Yeah.
as a result.
And that instantly brought a verse, I believe it's in the Bible, that says, when I was a child, I thought as a child. But then when I become an adult, I need to think as an adult. That's a
Right.
very loose Rachel paraphrasing of it. And I think that that's very much true. I think those seasons are the same. And I've joked that in your 20s, are basically just the adolescenthood of adulthood. And then when you hit your 30s, you're like, oh, we're maybe kind of becoming older adolescent adults. Like, and then you start at your 40s and you're like, I think I'm an adult now. And then I'm
Maybe,
like,
maybe.
I
I'm
know,
still
maybe.
questioning that.
I'm like, okay. And then I'm already looking ahead and I'm thinking, yeah, there's going to be a lot of interesting things as we hit 50s and 60s, 70s,
Yeah.
80s. Looking forward to it. But it just made me think about how we go through these processes. We don't stay the same. And I instantly pictured, as you were saying some of that weird, the way my brain works, the little legs on the caterpillar. It's like those legs are perfect little short, safe legs for staying on the ground and clinging to leaves. They work great for that. They have a lot of grip. They have a lot of, they're going to help the caterpillar in its job of eating leaves and getting around on the ground.
Right.
The legs of a butterfly are a completely the opposite. There's less legs. They're long
Right.
and spindly. They're lightweight. They are meant for flying and for alighting on flowers to get nectar. They have a completely different purpose, and yet they're still legs. They're still legs. So I think of it a little bit as those legs have to disintegrate and become the new legs so that you can still get around. You're still using them, but you're not throwing it away. You're not getting rid of legs altogether. You're still keeping
Right.
legs. Right. Okay. So anyway, that's where my brain goes. I would say some of the things that I love about the chrysalis is, one, if you allow yourself to embrace the chrysalis, you're actually inside the protective casing that is the chrysalis. So I think allowing yourself to be in that place, allow yourself to actually be there. But that safety that's there because you are being made, and the possibilities are endless because you are that cell soup. And you have an opportunity if you choose to actually embrace it. I think our attitude through this stage makes a big difference on the impact of the stage and the outcome. Like if I can embrace this with love and kindness and excitement and gratitude, how different is that going to be than when I'm miserable and I'm hating it? So I think being in the chrysalis goo is an exciting place to be, even though there's so many unknowns. You don't know what's going to come. And it can feel scary, I think, because of the unknowns. And you might not know how long it's going to be. I would say I've been kind of in the goo chrysalis for 3 years, actually maybe a little bit longer. I didn't fully realize it. But I don't think that that's a problem. It's not like other things aren't happening at the same time. Like I'm still learning. I'm just not learning with the same voraciousness that I was when I was in the caterpillar stage.
Right.
I'm just not. Like, am I still reading and doing studies? Yeah. But I'm not consuming 5 or 6 of them at a time. It's one very slowly over a few months. So, yeah, I think that the exciting thing is that this is a stage where if you can lean into it, you are about to experience something amazing. Because if we lean into this stage, the other side of it is the butterfly. It's the other side is this amazing point of view, amazing experience. And yet I think that the risk is the tendency to want to go back to being the caterpillar because it can be so uncomfortable. We just kind of want to go back to what we know. But if you do that, you are not ever truly going to be present, fully, truly present with yourself. You're not. And you're going to be turning off elements of who you are in order to fit a season, a body, a space that doesn't fit you anymore.
Right.
And that's for me has been one of the most uncomfortable things, is that there are things that are very convenient about just going back to old skills or old ways of doing things because they're familiar. I already know how to do them. And yet there's this part of me that just screams, if you go back, you might never, ever get the opportunity to go through this transformation. And are you willing to risk that? And I think there's a lot of things about our lives humanness, jobs, surviving in the world that push us to go back. They push us to go back. And I just encourage everybody to resist it. Resist that push. And I mean, obviously be in tune with yourself. Like check with what works with you, but allow yourself the freedom to stay in the uncomfortable place, to actually get the benefit and the transformation of you coming into a fresh alignment with who you are, to truly know yourself in a way that you've never known yourself, because that's what's going to form the butterfly inside the chrysalis.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you say, we want to go back. One of my mentors was talking to me about the fact that on our healing journey, there is a desire to go back, but you can't. What you can identify is, what from that season do I want to have in my life again? Like, oh, I was so happy back then. I was so joyful back then. Okay. It isn't that you want to be that person again. It's that you want the joy and the happiness that you had, because we can't ever actually be someone we used to be. That isn't how our bodies, our brains work. We're constantly moving forward. And I liked the idea that that was then an invitation. Yes, you can grieve the things that you lost, but it was an invitation for me to go, okay, so what is it about those versions of me that I want in the here and now? And so it almost added to, well, what is it that I am becoming? What is it that I'm pursuing? And you were also talking about, just some of the things that you love about being in that season. And I find I definitely want to not be in that season when I'm in it, because of the discomfort. And yet, when I have embraced it, the act of being uncomfortable and just saying, okay, it's okay for me to be uncomfortable with this, I believe there's something positive on the other side, has made it so much easier to be in it. And now that I would say, the more you and I have talked about these different phases, I think the more that I have paid more attention to what season I'm in. And I find that as I embrace them, they become much less uncomfortable, even though they're still a little uncomfortable, because I know that on the other side of the season, there's going to be a breaking out and eventually flight, where I get to enjoy my butterfly season again. And the embracing of it has made it more peaceful, even if it's still uncomfortable. And what if you were just able to carry peace around with you no matter what season you were in, no matter what was going on around you that was scary and was hard. And again, back to Rachel's disclaimer, we're not saying don't do anything if you're in an unhealthy situation, but what if just recognizing what season you're in, you could be peaceful. Yeah. And that's one of the things I have found that I like about being in the different seasons, is going, hey, I can be peaceful in this season, because it gives me something. Even if I don't particularly love the season, I know it's going to give me something on the other side.
There's a lot of parts of this current season that have felt very miserable. Kind of like, I'm over it. I'm done. Right. Can we be done now? And yet, I think part of what I'm loving is there's a lot of freedom in it. Probably because it is cell soup and you can just swim around in there. But you have the freedom to explore and get to know yourself in ways that you don't usually have this opportunity. Most of the time, we don't have this opportunity. And when I'm out there busy chomping leaves, I'm not taking the kind of risks that I can take within the chrysalis and daring to do something that different. Like, I'm thinking the most daring thing, the little caterpillars up on the leaf, like, hey guys, watch me, I'm gonna eat this leaf. I'm like, that's it. That's it. Is it went one leaf higher and took a bite out of that one. That's about as risky as it gets. Obviously, I'm joking around, but there's a lot of freedom, I think, and the opportunity to get to know yourself in a way that I think most of us avoid and many of us skip over. And I think a lot of people kind of shut it down because it is so uncomfortable. And yet, what an amazing opportunity. And I think that's what I'm loving, is that it's like, and it's not going to last. And that's where my awareness has kind of come up, is that I feel like it's getting closer to this season coming to an end. And it's like, oh man, you better enjoy the protective cocooning that you got going on. You better enjoy these things and do this. And what does it look like to explore me and to get to know, like, oh, wait a minute, I'm being reshaped. What does this look like? What's this going to be like? I get to explore it and try and get to know myself as best I can within the Chrysalis. Like, obviously, there's new learnings once I'm out, but I don't know. That is exciting. That is exciting because it feels like an invitation to know yourself and to truly be present with yourself.
Yeah. And I think a part of what I'm hearing is an invitation to embrace. You know, hey, this
Yeah.
is an invitation to embrace the season. Like, we know
Embrace
what
the
the season
cell soup.
entails. Embrace the cell soup. We know it's uncomfortable, but we think it's worth it. So we invite you to embrace it, to potentially find peace in it, to ask great questions, to know yourself really, really well. And as Rachel said, it is a season. It doesn't last forever, even if it's a long one. It does come to an end, and you enter a different season.
And it's a season where you can practice getting comfortable in the discomfort and the uncomfortable spaces. So, as always, we're remarkably luminous, and we invite you to continue to live fully present in whatever season you're in and to create meaningful change all the time.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.